back to the channel, guys. My name's Andy R, and this is the Brotherhood of Men, a channel dedicated at getting you guys a better outcome in your life, no matter what that's in, whether it be business, relationships, whatever. If your health, I don't care. I want you to get the best outcome for whatever goals you set for yourself. So what's today's subject? Well, today's subject is single mothers and why I think you shouldn't touch them with a 10-foot barge pole. Now, for those who are listening that aren't from this country, that is a phrase because we have canals, still have canals up and down the country, and it used to connect the industrial sites and the farming sites with the cities so that we could move goods around. It was like the motorways or freeways of its day. Originally, they were propelled by a guy walking along the barge with a massive great big pole he pushed against the bank called a barge pole, just like you've seen punts do who work on the gondolas, or if you've ever seen them on the Thames, the punts on the Thames, those big poles. Well, these used to be worked before they were horse-drawn. This is what they used to use on the barges. They used to use these poles, and they were really 10 foot long. So when you're saying, I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot barge pole, what you're saying is, I want her further away from me than I could reach with a 10-foot pole. In other words, I want her nowhere near me, or him, or anybody. So that's what that phrase means. Don't touch them with a 10-foot barge pole. Well, why not? Well, for a start, these women come in three categories that single mothers do. The lowest, I think, is baby mamas. That's what they're called in the States, and it's started to become a phrase over here in England. Baby mamas are those that have a child out of wedlock or any serious relationship, basically just to have a child, or to get some monetary gains, like they can get the government to give them aid and that because they have a child. Next comes the divorcees, those who were married, had children in wedlock, and then got divorced. And then finally is the widows. Now this category I feel the most sorry for, to be truthful, because they didn't choose to be widows. They didn't say, I'm going to get married to this guy, I'm in love with him, he's brilliant, I want to settle down and have children with him as my husband. She's made all the right choices. Then she has a child with him, and something happens, whether it's accident or illness or whatever, but he ends up dying and she's left alone to raise a child. She becomes a single mother through widowhood. And like I say, that's the category I feel the strongest for, I feel the most sympathy for. But I still say, have nothing to do with them. Now, the second category, the one I was talking about, the divorcees, they got married, had child, she thought, I'm doing all the right things. Then things started to get a bit tough, and instead of working at the marriage, she wrecked her marriage and divorced the guy. Because as I've said many times before, 80% of marriages are, the divorces filed are by women. 80% of divorces are filed by women. That's women wrecking their own homes. Things got a little bit tough and they couldn't be bothered to work it out. Now, I know that a small percentage of that 80% is going to be through something like a partner was knocking lumps out of her, and as I've said before, don't walk away from those relationships, run. Run like hell. You shouldn't have to put up with that, and neither should guys have to put up with that as well, because it happens to guys as well. But that's probably the 20% that are ending it. Just remember that 20%, the guys that actually file for divorce, they must have some really good reasons to, because guys are usually prepared to stick it out, to fight for the marriage. So 80% of divorces are filed by women, which means that they're deliberately wrecking their own marriages. So they end up as single mothers. They think they've got higher status because they were married when the child was born. They don't. And I still say, have nothing to do with them. And then of course there's the lowest of the low, which is the baby mama, the one that's banging out 3 or 4 kids by 3 or 4 different men, didn't get married, gave up her womb without any promise of a long-term relationship. Basically, she's made all of the wrong decisions and still expects you to treat her like she's something precious, like she's a princess, like she's still a virgin. I'm sorry, these women are delusional. If you marginally have anything to do with the other 2 categories, this one you avoid with that 10-foot barge pole. So why do I say avoid single mothers? Well, one, what the hell are these single mothers even doing dating? Their number one priority is they brought a new life into the world. Their number one priority should be raising that child. Shouldn't have any more time thinking about my coochie's not getting filled and I want to go out there and date men and lumber him with a stepchild or have the burden of raising somebody else's kid. Because that's how we guys look at it, girls. If you're looking at this, women, and you're thinking, why is he telling them not, that we shouldn't date single women? For this simple reason. That child that you bring into that relationship has no benefit to us. It's not our DNA. We didn't father it. And we are now expected by you to somehow put some of our assets, time and energy into raising another man's child? No, I don't think so. And this is why I said about the widows that they are the ones that I have the most sympathy for and feel the sorriest for, because they didn't choose to be single, or be a single mother, should I say. But I still say don't have anything to do with them, because they're starting to make bad decisions. If they're looking for a guy to date, they're not spending their time, all of their time, concentrating on raising the best child they can. Because they will never come to you and say, you're number one in my life. Which is basically what we want from a partner. Hey, women, you want that from a guy. You want him to concentrate on your wants and needs. You want him to be there when you need him. Well, guys want the same from a woman. We want to be their number one priority, to be there when we want and need them, to have their support. If they've already got a child, we know that their number one priority is not us. And rightly so, it should be their child. That is why you have children, to make them a priority, to raise them, to give them some moral grounds, to teach them right from wrong, to help, hopefully, that they will grow up and have better than we had. That's your priority. Is you have one job as a parent, only one, and that is to raise a child to be independent. That's it. That's your one job. Now, the fact that you love them and cherish them and feed them and all the other things, they're bonuses. But you have one job as a parent, and that is to raise the child to be independent. Because at some point, they're going to leave the house and go out into the big wide world, whether it's through work, marriage, or whatever, just to go and live on their own and be independent. But you hopefully would have raised them enough that they can face the world head held high and know how to behave in that world, that bad things don't happen to them. You've made them independent. That's your one job. Well, that's the job of every single mother, is to raise that child to become independent. It's not the job of some random guy that she wants to sleep with. And what the hell is she looking for a random guy just because her coochie's empty and she wants it filled? Well, you've taken time away from that child. You've taken time away. And what you're doing is actually showing very little morals. You're showing your child that, hey, if it doesn't matter if I have 57 different boyfriends, what's that teaching a young girl that's now raised up in that single mother household about relationships for when she becomes a woman? That's the way to behave? Bang a child out? Doesn't matter? Just raise it because there'll always be somebody there to scratch my itch? Hey, use guys as though they're ATMs. No. That's what you'll be doing, women, if you behave like that in front of your children when you are a single mother. No matter how you got to being a single mother. And of course, as I said, the lowest of the low are the baby mamas. And I don't care if there's screaming and yelling and people writing nasty comments to me now. It's just facts, and we guys know this. If you gave up your womb with no expectation of a long-term relationship, no expectation of marriage before you had children, then why should you expect any better from us? We'll sleep with you, especially if you're attractive, if you're fit, good looking. Yeah, absolutely, we'll jump into bed with you. But we are the gatekeepers of relationships, as it's been said many times before, and not just by me. We are the ones who decide whether anything turns into a relationship. You only get to decide if we have sex with you. And you're deciding that a lot of guys can have sex with you, even have kids with you. Hey, it doesn't matter. Society will pick up the slack. So we know your moral character, and we know that you make bad choices. So why would we want to get into a serious relationship with you? Because there, right at your knee, is one of the bad choices you made. And that was to become a single mother. Whether you divorced the guy that you were with instead of working it out, or whether you decided to have kids outside of wedlock or any serious relationship without the guy being around. And the ones I say, the sorry's because they didn't have a choice. But still, stay away from those single mothers. Entirely up to you guys. Like I say, have sex with them, just don't date them and have a relationship with them. I mean, some of these women are pretty damn freaky, but I'm telling you, you don't want to have any kind of relationship with it. And for God's sake, if you do sleep with them, make sure you bag up. Don't believe them if they tell them they're on the pill, or, oh, it's all right, I've had injection, I'm on birth control, or I'm wearing a cap or a coil, or any one of the other 36 different types of contraception there are for women. We have one, and that's a condom. So wear one. Wear it every single time. Because you don't want to be caught as paying child support for the next 18 years to somebody who has already had children, so she's not adverse to doing that. But, like I say, in my opinion, have nothing to do with them. 10-foot barge pole, you want them at least that far away from you. But it's entirely up to you. As I keep saying, you can only make decisions for your life. I'm not here to tell you. I'm here to give you the options, give you best information so you can make best choices. Anyway, my name's Andy R. This is the Brotherhood of Men, and I'll talk to you soon because I'm going for a cup of tea because I think I've earned one. Bye now.